Hello and welcome to Spa Business Mastery. I am so glad you're here, dear spa owner. If you have been listening for a while, and if you're new, welcome. So today's topic is called My Spa Leadership Non Negotiables. Now, I wanted to talk about spa leadership because I know that in this industry, this is one of the hardest aspects when it comes to building your own business. And it doesn't, leadership doesn't just refer to the situation if you have a team. It absolutely refers to you in your business as a solo, if that's what your business model is. So leadership isn't just kind of pertaining to how you relate to other people, it's how you're relating to your business as well. And, there's many reasons why spa leadership can be kind of difficult, can be confusing, it can be overwhelming, and it's not entirely a surprise. We find it typically pretty challenging in this industry to be a leader or to step into a leadership role because very few of us have had any formal leadership training. Most of us have learned our leadership from previous employers. So, and that's not to say whether your previous employer was actually a good leader or not. So there's definitely a whole movement of the blind leading the blind when it comes to leadership in spa industry. And the other piece about leadership that I find we struggle with, and I'm including this point with myself as well, is that because we've been in the personal services industry, and for those of you that, like me, that have been in it for decades, when we're in the personal service industry, we have been putting others' needs before ourselves. That was our job. However, that role can scuttle your leadership, because if you are not used to having boundaries, then it can feel really awkward. It can feel really like you're bossy, or you can feel like a bit of a bully when you're not really. It's just this, this, how do I describe it? This role that we've had, that we get really entrenched in as a service provider, when we shift into leadership and we need to step into more of a leadership role because we've been so worried about what everybody else is feeling, so that we can fix it. It's part of what the spa industry is about. That's the part that can really get into the way of your leadership. And that's the part that I see a lot of spa owners struggling with, just kind of this uncomfortable feeling about being a leader. All right. So, leadership, there's lots of books on the topic. There's not a lot of information about spa specific leadership, but when I learned about leadership, it was when I had made the decision to transform my business. It was driving me crazy. It wasn't making any money. In fact, we were like hemorrhaging money. I was not getting paid. Some of my team members were ruling the roost. And when I was away, things totally fell apart. So when I was in the process of putting together systems and structure to my business, what I realized, much to my own embarrassment and dismay, was that I had been compromising my leadership all the way through my business. And I felt really bad about it, but what I realized is I just didn't know what I didn't know. Now I know, now I can make changes. So, when we are not able to step fully into our leadership role for various reasons that I've just explained, we are compromising. We're compromising our business goals. We're compromising our team culture, desires, and goals. We're compromising the guest experience. And so it's so important. Like, this leadership question is so important because it affects everything. So what I wanted to share with you today was my spa leadership non-negotiables, and it has moved into into my kind of next iteration of my career as a spa business coach and as a leader of spa business management, which is our done for you digital marketing services. So, these no compromise leadership traits that I'm going to share with you, it came from being literally in pain. My business was in pain. Maybe I was feeling personally like I was in pain because I was like, upset about team behavior. Even in my business now, sometimes, with all of our businesses, we sometimes deal with clients that can be extremely difficult to deal with. So these are my 4 no compromise spa leadership traits. And maybe you can, maybe this resonates with you, and maybe these aren't your exact no compromise traits that you want to go for, but maybe they kind of twig some ideas for you. But what I really want you to do after this podcast is really think about, what are your spa leadership non-negotiables? Because when you draw a line in the sand, you're creating a boundary, which means you do things differently. All right, what are my spa leadership non-negotiables? Well, I guess it's not spa leadership, it's just business leadership. Number 1, adhering to my values no matter what. So I have talked about business values, many podcasts and many blogs. It's incredibly important. And it's important because if you are unclear about your business values, which really are just an extension of your personal values, if you're not clear about your values, then you don't know where to draw the line in the sand for certain things. But when you have done a values exercise and have 4 or 5 values really clear, and what that value how that value is represented in your business, with your team, and with clients, if something comes up, say there's poor behavior from a team member, and for example, one of my values is compassion. Another one is communication. And so if I've got a team member or a client who is, not being compassionate at all and not being a good communicator at all, whether it's clear communication or timely communication, that goes against my values, because it goes against how I live my life and how we work in this business. We specifically chose those values in this business because it allows us to work more efficiently. It allows us to give our clients better outcomes. So if I compromise on, those 2 things, parts of my business will be affected, and my bottom line will be affected, and how I feel in my business will be affected. So absolutely do a values exercise for yourself. If you've never done a values exercise, I actually have one on my website, kirstenfoss.com. Go to the shop, and it's a little do-it-yourself exercise to figure out what your spa values are, and actually how to write them out, and then how to present them. Number 2 for my non-negotiables, for leadership non-negotiable, is providing clear and positive communication. Now, although that's in my values, it is so important to me that it is worthy of standing on its own. And this isn't just about business. This is about personal life as well, because you can't expect clear, positive communication at work if you don't do that in your personal life. Okay. And we all know that when we have clear communication and positive communication, problems get solved quicker. You can let go of the tension quicker and just move on to things that are more enjoyable, and things that are going to be earning you money. Number 3 for my leadership non-negotiables are being accountable. This is accountability for me. These negotiables are for me just as much as for other people. So being accountable for myself as a business owner means I'm being accountable for my finances, paying bills on time. I still sometimes things get lost, whatever, but for the most part, 99% of the time, I'm trying to be responsible with my finances. Organization, being accountable with organization. Organization is actually one of my company values as well. It's what people pay us for when they work with us for digital marketing, is how efficient and how organized we are. It makes them look good. So can you imagine if I started compromising on my own internal business organization, what the client organization would look like? It would be a gong show. Being accountable for hiring aligned team members. Many of us who have teams, we've made the mistake of making a wrong hire. Oh, it happens, but the best thing to do is to fire fast, okay? But it is my responsibility. I might have hired somebody that actually didn't fit in with our team culture or our values, and for whatever reason, however they got past that in my interview recruiting and hiring system. I mean, I've got a recruiting and hiring system that protects me from that now, but it is my responsibility. Dealing with ongoing poor behavior from clients or team members, it is my responsibility to nip that in the bud right away. And it's also my responsibility to have calm conversations to rectify things. So these are part of me being responsible, but it's also my expectation for clients and team members in my business, that they're going to hold themselves accountable, and I will hold them accountable if they're unable to. Now, the last thing, the last non-negotiable for me in terms of leadership, it's being solutions focused. There's nothing that drives me more crazy than somebody coming up to me and just saying the problem, and then, you know, when I share how we could find a solution, they find more problems, they find more problems, they find more problems. Really, they're not looking for a solution, they're wanting to complain about things. Now we see this with clients sometimes. You know, they complain a lot, and they maybe, like, for example, we can think about in skin therapy, they're complaining about their skin, they're not happy about it. And you are, you know, part of your values is being solutions focused, or your leadership non-negotiables, and you follow the whole guest experience in terms of being solutions focused. And if the client over, you know, period of months is just not willing to listen to you, or is buying other products that's, you know, counteracting what you're doing, it's probably not going to work. And you have every right to have a conversation with that client and say, I don't think we're actually a good fit. The same goes with team members being solutions focused. My team knows that my expectation is that if they have a problem, they've actually tried to find a solution for them at first, and then come to me. You know, when they're first learning, that's fine. You know, you can come to me with a question, but very quickly, because I have given my team enough resources, and I should have hired the right team member that had the skill, it shouldn't, you know, they should know how to find those answers to those questions themselves, whether it's in our team handbook or whether they need to Google it. Maybe it's a new tactic that's coming up and it's so new that, you know, we don't even really know about it quite yet. All right, so those are just 4 non-negotiable leadership traits. Those are mine. Maybe this has twigged you to think about what yours are. And once you've written them down, because I absolutely recommend that you write them down, use this as a little exercise to kind of flesh out what is really important to you. After that's done, it's up to you to adhere to this. You can decide whether these are non-negotiable or they're negotiable. And really, at the end of the day, if you make them negotiable, then you're really only doing your business, you're only really hurting you and your business. All right, so that's it for me for Spa Business Mastery today. It's all about your leadership. And you know, when it comes to leadership, if you have a team, my expectation is team members have personal leadership within the organization, whether they are actually leading other people or not. So it doesn't really matter if somebody says, I'm not a really good leader. Everybody has their own responsibility for personal leadership. And when I'm hiring, and I hope that when you're hiring, that you're looking for those kinds of characteristics as well. So you're not dealing with awkward, irritating stuff once they're hired. All right, well, take care. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me at kirsten@kirstenfoss.com, or follow me on our socials. We're on Facebook, Kirsten Foss Coaching, and Instagram as well. And some of you have noticed actually my background's a little different. So I've actually, our kids are all moved out of the house, and my office was in a space like a detached building on our property. And although it was a big, beautiful space, it was what I was giving my aesthetics treatments in when I had my aesthetics business, transitioned it to an office when I started coaching. And I decided that, you know, the space needs to be used differently. I'm going to move my office into the house And we've actually decided to turn that beautiful office space in. It's got a full bathroom in it. It's got its own private entrance. So we're going to turn that space into a little B&B. So I thought I'd share that with you. Anyways, take care, and we will see you next time on Spa Business Mastery Podcast. Give us a follow if you like what we're talking about.